It started by looking like my brother. Now he can't even see it standing over him. The thing in my house loves to wear my brother's face. Most days this place is just me and him. Cassian. We drift through the rooms like two ships in a fog, rarely speaking but comfortable in the shared silence. Our mother, Elara, is a ghost even when she's home, exhausted from managing a retail store that eats her life in 10-hour chunks. The house breathes around us, quiet and empty. It's the kind of quiet that lets you hear things you shouldn't. It started a few months ago. I was deep into some mindless game, the only light in my room coming from the firefight on screen. I felt that prickle on my neck, the one that says you're being watched. I glanced at my doorway and saw him. Cassian. Just standing there, a silhouette against the hall light. I figured he wanted something, but when I paused the game and turned, the door was shut. The hall was empty. I shrugged it off. Cassian was weird. He probably changed his mind. A new match popped up and I forgot all about it, but it kept happening. A flicker of movement in the other room, shaped like my brother. A shadow in the kitchen that looked just like my mother, home hours early from work. They were always on the edge of my sight, gone the second I tried to focus. It was easy to dismiss. Tricks of the light. An over-caffeinated brain playing games. Then came the voices. I'd be listening to music, headphones clamped tight over my ears, and I'd hear it. A faint, distant call of my name. Sometimes it was Elara's voice, thin and worried. Sometimes it was Cassian, flat and monotone. I'd pull my headphones off, annoyed, and the house would be dead silent. I'd go find them. "Did you call me?" I'd ask. They'd just give me that look. The one that said I was losing it. The worst was when I'd hear my mother call my name, a knot of dread tightening in my stomach, only to remember her car wasn't even in the driveway. It got so bad I started ignoring them. The real ones. I missed dinner twice because I thought the sound of my name was another trick. For weeks, the watcher just watched. It was a constant, unnerving pressure at the edge of my world. It didn't matter what I was doing. Making a sandwich, it would be a blur in the dining room. Working out in the garage, a statue in the shadows. I even saw its form in the steam on the shower door once, a humanoid shape that vanished when I wiped the glass. Life became a frustrating, exhausting exercise in ignoring the impossible. I told myself it was stress. Pareidolia. Something a therapist could fix if I had the money for one, which I didn't. So I did what we always do. I pushed it down. I decided I could live with it. Then, for about a week, it stopped. The shadows were just shadows. The silence was just silence. I started to breathe again. I let myself believe I'd imagined the whole thing, that the stress had passed and I was okay. The relief was so profound it was almost painful. Last night, I was up late. The house was cold and still, the only sound the click of my keyboard. I felt a sudden, sharp thirst and decided to grab a soda. As I walked into the hall, I knew something was wrong. The air was heavy, thick, and it was standing there, blocking my path to the kitchen. My first thought, born of habit, was Cassian. But that thought died the instant I saw its face, or the lack of one. It wasn't him. It wasn't her. It wasn't human. Its skin was the color and texture of old, polished bone, stretched tight over a frame that was all wrong. Too tall, too thin, with limbs that seemed to have too many joints. The head was a smooth, ambiguous lump, but I understood now how my brain had mistaken it for my family. It was a suggestion of a face, a mockery, a blank canvas my fear had painted on. But there were no features, no eyes, no mouth, no nose, just a seamless, horrifying smoothness. My heart didn't race. It just stopped. A cold, heavy dread filled my lungs, a scream building in my throat that I couldn't force out. The sound I finally made was a choked gasp, a pathetic whimper, but it was enough. Cassian's door flew open. "What's wrong?" he asked, his eyes wide with sleep and confusion. "You look like you've seen a ghost." And as he spoke, the thing took a step forward. It reached out one of its long, bone-white arms and laid its hand on Cassian's shoulder. My brother didn't even flinch. He didn't feel it. He just stood there, staring at me, while that abomination touched him, claimed him, right in front of my eyes. The scream finally came then, raw and torn from my soul. Cassian thought I was having a panic attack. He guided me back to my room, his voice a soothing murmur I barely heard over the roaring in my ears. He walked right through the space where the thing had been standing. It doesn't hide anymore. It's crossed the border from the corner of my eye into the dead center of my vision. It doesn't vanish when I stare. It stands there, bold and solid and real. As I type this, its top half is phasing through the wall next to my desk, its featureless head tilted as if it's reading the words on my screen. It has no eyes, but I know it sees me. I know it perceives me. The cold radiating from it is making my fingers tremble. Someone, please tell me what this is. Tell me how to make it leave. I don't know how much longer I can sit here while it watches me live.